All right, today we're going to meet what is, without a doubt, the deadliest virus on Earth. It's a microscopic monster perfectly evolved over millennia, and it has haunted us for as long as we can remember. But first, I want you to picture something really, really weird. Imagine looking up into the sky and seeing thousands of chicken heads just raining down. I know, it sounds like something out of a bizarre horror movie, but believe it or not, this actually happened. And the reason why is even crazier. It was to save lives. You see, those chicken heads were actually bait. They were stuffed with a vaccine to fight a huge rabies epidemic that was tearing through Europe's wildlife. This was just one creative and kind of desperate battle in our very long war against this particular virus. So, to really understand what we're up against, we have to meet the monster itself. Its scientific name is Lissa virus. And get this, it's named after Lissa, the ancient Greek spirit of mad rage. And what a perfect name that is. For at least 4,000 years, we've seen what this virus can do, turning calm animals into aggressive monsters and giving infected people a terrifying fear of water. It is literally an ancient horror story brought to life. But here's the part that is just mind-blowing. This incredibly effective monster is ridiculously simple. Its entire genetic code, its whole blueprint, only has instructions for 5 proteins. That's it. Just 5. And with that tiny, tiny toolkit, it has perfected a way to solve 5 incredibly hard problems. It has to get inside a mammal, it has to hide from the body's defenses, travel all the way to the brain, make copies of itself, and then get back out to find a new victim. It is a masterclass in brutal efficiency. So, how in the world does this little toolkit actually work? Well, it all kicks off with a silent invasion. For most people who get infected, the whole nightmare begins with a bite, usually from a dog. In that moment, millions of virus particles are pushed from the animal's saliva deep into your tissue. And from there, they have one single goal: find your nerve cells, the body's communication wiring. Okay, so now the virus has a huge problem. Your nerve cells can be super long, right? And we're talking over a meter in some cases. So how does it get from, say, a bite on your foot all the way up to your brain? Well, it hijacks your cell's own internal delivery system. It uses just one of its 5 proteins to basically hotwire a complex machine called a dynein motor. Think of this motor as a tiny engine made of 50 proteins that walks along little railway tracks inside your cells. So the tiny hijacker, with its one protein, grabs onto this big, sophisticated engine and just tells it, "Take me to the brain." And this brings us to the virus's most brilliant and honestly, most terrifying trick: its uncanny ability to hide in plain sight. You have to be asking yourself, wait a minute, where is the immune system in all of this? What is your body's incredibly powerful military doing to stop this home invasion? Well, here's how it's supposed to work. Normally, when a cell gets infected, it starts screaming for help. It shoots out these alarm proteins called interferons. Think of it like pulling a fire alarm for the whole body. These alarms tell other cells to lock their doors and slow down, making it harder for the virus to copy itself. And crucially, they tell the infected cell to open up its display windows, showing the immune system exactly what the bad guy looks like so it knows what to attack. Unfortunately, Lissa knows the entire playbook, and it has the perfect countermove. It simply blocks the cell from ever making those interferons. It cuts the wire to the fire alarm, so there's no alarm, no lockdown, no display windows. The virus becomes a ghost, moving silently through your nervous system, completely invisible to your body's best defenses. And so, this ghost continues its slow, silent journey, leading to the final, fatal move: checkmate in the brain. And this journey isn't fast. The virus is incredibly patient. It can take weeks, months, in some really rare cases, even years. But eventually, it gets where it's going: the brainstem, the control center for your most basic, vital functions. Now, at this point, the immune system finally realizes something is catastrophically wrong. It sends in the cavalry, its elite special forces, the killer T cells. But Lissa is waiting for them, and it pulls the ultimate Uno reverse card. It actually tricks the neurons it has infected into giving the arriving T cells a self-destruct order. The body's best defenders finally show up to the fight, only to be told to commit suicide. Game over. And you know, one of the weirdest things about all this? We still don't know exactly how rabies kills. It doesn't cause a ton of physical damage to the brain. Instead, it seems to just mess up the wiring. It completely disrupts the communication between neurons, leading to all the terrible symptoms: confusion, aggression, paralysis. Then, in its final move, it reverses course, traveling back out from the brain and into the salivary glands, getting itself ready to jump to a new host. Okay, I know this all sounds absolutely hopeless, and it is terrifying. But there is a way to win. It all just comes down to a race against time. There is one single thing that can defeat this perfect monster, and that's a vaccine. One of the very first vaccines humanity ever developed. And here's what makes the rabies vaccine so incredibly special. Remember that long, slow, silent journey the virus takes to get to the brain? Well, that's our window of opportunity. It means you can get the vaccine after you've been bitten. The shot basically supercharges your immune system, teaching it what to look for so it can hunt down and destroy the virus while it's still on that slow trek. But, and this is the critical part, once symptoms appear, that window is closed. It means the virus has reached the brain, and at that point, it's too late. Which brings us to today, and the reality of this monster's lingering shadow over our modern world. Because even with a nearly perfect vaccine, rabies still kills around 60,000 people every single year. And what's just heartbreaking is that almost half of them are children. We are a long, long way from getting rid of this monster. It's still lurking in wildlife all over the planet, a constant, chilling reminder that these ancient enemies are always there, waiting in the shadows, ready to come back if we ever let our guard down. Rabies really is a real-life monster, the result of millions of years of ruthless, perfect evolution. But we have the tools to beat it. We have the ability to relegate it to the pages of history books and horror stories where it belongs. Let's just hope that one day we can finally finish the fight, so that Lysa can finally become what it always sounded like in the first place. Just a scary old myth.